You still don't understand what you're dealing with, do you? Perfect organism. Its structural perfection is matched only by its hostility.
You admire it.
I admire its purity. A survivor. Unclouded by conscience, remorse, or delusions of morality.
Look, I've heard enough of this, and I'm asking you to pull the plug.
Last word.
What?
I can't lie to you about your chances, but you have my sympathies.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Film Bros Podcast. My name is Isaiah Lucas, and I am joined by my co-hosts.
Abraham.
And Nick.
How you guys doing tonight?
I'm all right.
You feeling creeped out?
No?
You don't see the alien in your dreams, your nightmares?
No, I saw a stupid cat in my dreams, though.
Oh, my gosh.
Jonesy?
An orange tabby, man.
An orange tabby.
I
You
still
were
can't
thinking-
believe that's the thing that scared you.
Dude, I didn't. I did not jump. I kid you not. The only time I jumped was when that stupid cat would pop out of nowhere.
Yeah. That's funny, man. It seemed like one of the most, obvious scares coming up. I was like, all right, come on.
She's going to, smash something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I
no.
don't know.
That's funny.
What about you?
How
Am
you
I feeling scared
Yeah.
after this movie? No, unfortunately. But I do appreciate the movie for what it is and for what it did for the genre of sci-fi and, how scary something can be. Because before this, only, big sci-fis at the time were Star Wars.
Star Wars.
And it was space was not something that was seen as scary or
Yeah.
that could be scary.
Mm-hmm.
So I appreciate what this did for not only the genre of sci-fi, but also you should probably say survival horror type movies or even games.
Oh, yeah,
This movie went on to become a game not even a few years ago that I believe was pretty much loved by quite a bit of people.
Yeah,
Alien Isolation, right?
Yeah,
was the
Alien
game.
Isolation. And I remember it being, actually terrifying.
Yeah.
This movie, it spawned a franchise.
Yep.
Where I was not expecting that. And
Yeah.
I didn't realize that Prometheus fell in this
Yeah.
franchise.
Yep.
So it's interesting. I just spent all day today researching how people felt about the series in general.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems to fall off a little bit later.
Yeah, I know that basically after the second one,
Yeah.
it starts going into
decision
canon.
after decision is just, people are like, what are you doing? This
Yeah.
is terrible.
Yeah, and I think it even gets worse because I think my first introduction into the Alien franchise,
Okay.
or the Predator franchise,
Was it AVP?
AVP.
Yeah.
Dude,
Mine too.
AVP
Mine too.
was...
And I remember watching AVP for the first time and being like, "This is sick!"
Yep.
Watching this alien and this predator go at it, it's so tight. And then, getting older and finding out that these were two separate franchises that they ended up joining together.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was pretty cool. But now I watching those movies back, you can tell kind of how bad they are.
Oh, yeah. Especially that movie.
Yeah,
Oh.
especially
Dude,
AVP.
AVP is so
I remember being
bad.
so excited whenever Alien vs. Predator Requiem
Mhm.
came out, and I remember being so excited to watch that, and it was trash. I remember even playing some of the games.
For AVP?
Yes, I had a subscription to GameFly at the time,
Bruh,
It was goated
and
back
I back in the day I had a PlayStation Portable, and
Oh,
they had
wow.
a Predator game called Predator Concrete Jungle or something like that, and it was like a mission based.
Did you play as the Predator? Or
Yeah,
did
and you play as the Predator and you hunt
Oh,
people.
that's pretty cool.
And I always thought it was so sick.
Uh-huh.
And there was certain missions where you get to use your cloaking device and the thermal, and you sneak up behind people and use your blades and your lasers and stuff and everything.
Yeah.
it was like a fun game. Like I remember really loving it for the time that I got to play it.
Yeah, man.
And-
Predator needs a resurgence.
Well, I think it did, right?
Oh,
With Prey.
no, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Alien needs a resurgence.
Yeah.
Prey with the Predator, man. I pretty much enjoyed that movie.
Yeah.
They brought it back to basics,
Mhm.
but I think that's what people were looking for.
Yeah.
And I think that they could, because I think it gets a little confusing with the Alien franchise
Oh, for sure.
with how, because I know I know that there's decisions that the director wanted to do that they never could, and that he never got allowed to.
Yeah.
And whenever he finally did later on, it was like, well, this isn't what we want anymore. We want to go back to Sigourney Weaver. We want like the terror back.
Yeah.
Which is I've heard that from several people, and I wish I followed along through it. I mean, it seems interesting enough. I mean, they build this alien up.
Yeah.
There's plenty more that they could do with it. I mean, that there's a whole planet full of eggs of this alien.
Yeah.
You know, there's so much they could do.
Yeah.
And I heard a lot about Aliens, the sequel, and I'm honestly gonna watch it
Yeah.
because from what I've heard with James Cameron,
I've heard it's great.
I've heard it's incredible, and
Yeah.
it's everything that I was looking for in this film.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I'll love this one even more.
Mm.
So I'm excited to talk about it though. I got a couple things to talk about.
Yeah. Well, with that being said, what's the movie that we're talking about today?
Alien. If you couldn't tell, Alien, 1979, directed by Ridley Scott. It was written by Dan O'Bannon and Ronald Shusett.
Shusett.
However you pronounce that.
Yeah.
So, like we said, we don't have any history with it.
No. I just recently watched this movie for the first time this year.
Really?
Yeah, I think like possibly back in May, because at the time it was streaming on Amazon Prime.
Oh, it was.
And Alexa and I one Saturday morning were just looking for something to watch that we both hadn't seen, and this was on. Like we looked through like HBO Max, we looked through Netflix, and nothing was calling to us at that moment. And so we were like, okay, let's check out Prime and see if there's anything. And we stumbled across Alien, and we decided, yeah, let's check it out for the first time. And we like made breakfast, made coffee, and like sitting there watching this movie, and it was. I remember enjoying it, having a good time, and finally getting to watch like what would be considered a classic.
Oh yeah, this is a classic, man.
So.
Everybody loves this film.
Yeah,
it's crazy how much uproar his support for behind this film has.
Yeah. What about you guys? I think this was your first time watching it, right?
So I thought it was my first time watching, but there were scenes where I remembered this movie, and I feel like it's just because like I would scroll on like FX. Do you remember having that channel?
Yes.
FX has the movie.
FX has the movie.
Yeah, that's seared in
I
my
remember
brain.
seeing some scenes on that, but
Yeah.
so I wouldn't say it's my first watch, but I guess I would say it's my first complete watch, but not my first watch.
Yeah. I think this movie, first off, I'm going to say I think it has a lot of rewatchability.
Really?
And, yes, and I think that that's the case because of channels like FX. Like when certain TV channels or anything like get the rights for a certain amount of time for a film and they just are playing it on repeat. Like I think the same thing with like I think the channel TNT had the Shawshank Redemption rights forever, and they would just constantly play that movie all the time. And I think that sort of leads to, I mean, not only the movie being great, but also why it has so much rewatchability, because it was continued to play like for over and over and over and over and over, and you could jump in at any point and be like, oh dude, I'm in.
Yeah.
Like this is great. And I think Alien has a little bit of that. And I think that not only because it's always on TV, but also because I think of my Uncle Jimmy. And my Uncle Jimmy is a big sci-fi guy, but he likes a lot of like strange sci-fi. Like I remember watching Waterworld the first time at his house. And like what was that? Pitch Black. You remember that movie?
Pitch Black.
It's like the Chronicles of Riddick movies.
Oh yeah, and that's with
Vin Diesel.
Yeah, Vin Diesel.
Like he was like into those types of like sci-fi, like
my
very
God.
obscure.
Didn't he have those big
goggles.
old glass? Yeah.
He was very into like obscure sci-fi and like movies like The Fifth Element and like strange
The
like
Fifth
like
Element.
90s, 2000s, 80s sci-fi. So I feel like probably when I was a kid, maybe this was on possibly like when I was around his house at some point, but I just don't remember. But when I watch this movie, I feel like I'm a kid back in that state because I can see myself seeing this on the screen for the first time and my Uncle Jimmy just being like, just watching it with his hands on his belly, you know?
Yeah.
So, I enjoy it. I think it's a fun movie. It's a classic. And we're going to dive into why it is what it is.
Yeah.
So.
Sounds good.
All right.
Got anything left? Any more introductions?
I think it's streaming on Stars,
Yes.
which is where I got to stream it. I had access to Stars, which I totally forgot. But I streamed it on Stars. I think you had a copy, right?
Yeah, I went to buy it specifically to watch it for the podcast.
And then I think you rented it.
Yeah, I just rented it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you got Stars, check it out. If you have that streaming platform, if not, pick up a copy or
Yes.
rent it for like $2 or $3.
Yeah, I
and
think I paid $2.
knock it off your list if you haven't seen it.
Mhm.
If you have, buckle in because we are going to be getting into spoilers. And fasten your seatbelt.
You said buckle in, so I did.
True. And we're going to get into the episode. So you want to start us off with your first favorite scene?
Yes. I liked the introduction.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, I did too.
This introduction is awesome.
Yeah.
It really serves to highlight just how detailed they made the set
Mm-hmm.
because the camera slowly pans in the Nostromo,
Yes.
the ship that we're in. This
It's a cargo
massive-
ship.
I think it said 20 million pounds of unrefined material or something like
Yeah.
that is
Dude.
hauling. I was like,
Yeah.
holy crap. So we're way in the future. Humanity is spacefaring like crazy. And we just pan through this completely empty ship. And it feels so industrial and so like grimy and dirty. And it's not like you would, normally at the time you think of Star Wars or you think of Star Trek.
Yeah.
It's like these all pristine. Like
Yes.
there's white walls. There's glass everywhere. It's all nice and needy. No, this is like you're a greaser. You're getting down and
Yeah.
you're having to fix things on the. And there's like literally every surface has 30 buttons.
Yeah.
So many
There's so
buttons.
many
Yeah.
buttons. Everything's flashing up. They even seem to have like their own way of typing, like their own like computer language that they type in.
Yeah.
It is just seeping with detail.
Yes.
And I loved it, man. It reminded me a lot of, I know you guys haven't seen it, but 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Okay.
I've never seen it.
That
I have yet to watch
movie
that one as well.
I haven't finished it yet, but it's an experience, especially when it comes to showing these ships.
Mm.
Man, it takes its time to really highlight just how like detailed each ship is.
Yeah.
And they take these very long and drawn out scenes where you're just staring at a ship spinning in space. And you're sitting there for like 15 minutes watching a ship do that. And it really, I mean, I feel like this film took a lot of inspiration from that
Okay.
because, again, you just get these very slow shots
Mhm.
of going through this completely empty ship.
Yeah. I actually, now that you bring that up, I have a fact actually. That was the main source of inspiration, or that it shaped the way that the movie would be. It pulled influences from Star Wars: A New Hope,
For sure.
which came out in '77, 2001: A Space Odyssey, which came out in '68,
Yep.
and then for their depiction of outer space is what they pulled A Space Odyssey for.
Mm-hmm.
And then for the treatment of horror, they chose Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Wow.
That's a
70s.
staple.
Something lurking in the corner. You don't
Yeah.
quite know where he's at.
Exactly.
And it makes so much sense. It's wearing its inspiration on its sleeve.
Yes.
Because in 2001: A Space Odyssey, dude, everything is practical.
Yes.
Literally everything. Like the beginning, the monkeys are like in suits,
Mhm.
practical. You can tell that they spent so much time getting it looking completely right.
Mhm.
And this is exactly the same with Alien. I mean,
Yes.
the whole set here is really what drives you into this universe. It's what you get immersed in.
Yes.
Because it looks so real. I mean, it literally
Yeah.
looks like humans in the future built this.
Yes.
I know a lot of the times when I watch movies, you see robots and you're like, would humans ever, were we ever advanced that far to where we get to a robot like this or, advanced technology like this?
Yeah.
Like sometimes it doesn't seem believable,
Mhm.
but this is like, everything is so unrefined. There's like 7 crewmates
Yeah.
and it's all like grimy.
Yeah.
You know, that's what it felt like.
Yes.
And I loved it. It's completely unique in that way.
Yeah, me too. I don't know like what to call the design choice or design style of the Nostromo or just like the Alien franchise in general, because I feel like it's so specific.
Yeah.
I almost want to call it like retro futurism or something,
Yeah.
like what people thought the future would look like
Yeah.
in the 60s.
Yeah.
And so like, you know, there's like everything looks futuristic but old.
It does.
in a way, and I love that style.
Yeah.
I love that the Alien franchise throughout all of its movies sticks to that, and it never like progresses past that point.
Mm-hmm.
You know, where like people have like touch screens and stuff and like holograms and all that. Like no, everything is like on a computer monitor that's like only green text.
It is doing 110011110.
Yeah.
You're just like,
yeah, and they're reading data and they're like, oh, if we land here, the topography is gonna, you know, it's not safe. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And like all they're looking at is like a little graph like of the layout of the land or something. And I just have to say the design choice and the way that they immerse you into the world, like you were saying, I think is such a crucial way to introduce us into the movie, and also not only to set us up for the characters and what their missions are.
yeah.
Like we immediately get like this like long sweeping shot of space, and then we see the Nostromo, and it pulls up this text and says crew members 7 hauling cargo, how much cargo they're hauling, and their mission like heading back to Earth to drop off this cargo that they just went and picked up, however so far away.
Yeah.
And
it's efficient in that way.
Yeah, and yeah, I think it's super effective in setting up its story and showing us all these establishing shots of what the Nostromo is.
Oh yeah, tell me how cool it was too, because there's a significant amount of silence when we're panning through this scene, and then immediately you get the crewmates in these like weird egg pods.
Yeah,
and then it doesn't spend too much time of them getting all out. You see one guy, I think it's
Sir John Hurt.
Sir John. Okay,
yeah, it's his character.
Oh gosh,
I'm blanking on his name.
Oh, I think it's a 4-letter word. It's not Kurt. It's eluding me now. But the reason why I like the juxtaposition of silence, and then immediately it's just all of them around like a dinner table eating. And Kane.
There we go, Kane.
They're all eating breakfast together, like they had just gone out through like months of cryo sleep or whatever.
Yeah.
And it just there's like a bunch of conversations going on that are all inaudible. So we're not like we're not able to focus on one character, but they all just seem like they've been here for years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They all have that like, oh, we've been here.
Yeah.
Like filming for years, you know? It felt like they belonged.
Yeah, and I also love like some of the conversation that gets brought around. Like I think it's Parker who brings up, he's like, man, I'm tired of this food. It's trash. I can't wait to eat some real food.
Yeah, it's Parker. Parker's probably one of my favorite characters.
I agree.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
he's funny, man.
He has the
And
most...
he's the most sense.
Yeah.
Like the most sense out of everyone. And I think during this actual like breakfast scene, if you want to call it that, because everyone wakes up and they're all eating.
Yeah.
They're all sitting around, and that's when we recognize that, like, you know, they've been out in space for a while and can't wait to get home. And Parker is complaining about a bonus.
Dude, this is,
Right. He essentially I think it gets brought up that like they're trying to essentially see why, like, I think they did more work than they're necessarily supposed to. And Parker was like, man, I need a bonus, blah, blah, blah. And we get told that, no, you know that you only get you get paid for what you're contracted for.
Mm-hmm.
So regardless of the amount of work that you do, you get a set amount of pay.
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, this is trash. Like, I don't, that shouldn't be the way it is,
Yeah.
blah, 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 and all this stuff. And
He's like the working man.
Yeah,
He's always
exactly.
like, come on, give me money or I'm not doing my job.
chasing that bag, dude.
exactly.
For sure.
And I think is it at this point where they get a distress call or a certain beacon, right?
And I was a little confused, so maybe you can enlighten me. So I thought the whole reason why they woke up is because they were off track.
Oh.
Or they were heading towards the beacon. So that's why they got awakened by Mother.
Uh-huh.
But it might have just been like, oh, it was their time.
Uh-huh.
Because we see Dallas go in there and he's communicating with this, I guess it's an AI
Yeah.
called
Called
Mother.
Mother.
and it's in this like dome room with literally like thousands of yellow lights blinking
Yeah.
everywhere.
And only like certain people can have access to it.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it's just the captain,
Yeah.
right? But he ends up going out there and saying like, "Hey guys, bad news. We're about 10 months away from home."
Yeah. Jeez.
10 months, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
And then they also get the distress call
Right,
that
right,
says that there's a beacon that Mother wants us to investigate.
Mhm.
It's a little bit out of the way, but because in our contracts we are actually obligated to investigate any distress beacon, whether
Mhm.
that be, if it be real or fake. Like if one goes off near us, we have to go investigate it.
It seems I would scratch that out. I would not sign a contract that had
Yeah.
that, especially in the hauler that they're in. They
Yeah.
seem ill-equipped to
Yeah.
help anyone.
Exactly, and that's when Parker is like,
And being 10
Man,
months
I'm-
away from
Parker's
home.
like, I'm not
yeah,
doing
Parker's
that.
like, I'm not doing that unless we negotiate bonuses.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
I don't care about any distress beacon. I'm not going to handle anything. I just want to get home and I want to get my pay and get out of here.
Mhm.
Like that's all that I'm contracted to do. And
Of course, who speaks up?
Ash.
Ash.
And he's like, "No,
This-
you're actually contractually
Ash
obligated
is-
to fulfill your thing." And what he says too is I think even Captain Dallas backs Ash up on it, where he says that if
Yes.
you fail to complete your contract or you fail to comply with orders, that you forfeit your entire pay of
And he
your
goes,
contract.
But what does he say afterwards? He's like, all right, let's go. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not losing this bag.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah. And so that's what drives them to this distress beacon, where we eventually,
Yeah.
find out this whole planet is full of this alien life form, the xenomorphs.
Yeah, I forget.
And,
It's called like X27 or something like that.
Something like
The
that.
planet?
Yeah. I'm glad you brought this up because I wanted to talk about. We've talked a lot about the set design,
Yeah.
but there's a lot of miniature use here.
Yes, and
And-
that's one thing I really love.
I did like it a lot, although some of it was not as convincing as I wished it was.
You thinking about the baby xenomorph?
Oh no, I'm also thinking about when I think they call it the umbilicus. It's that ship that they go into to go to
The little
planet.
shuttle
I hate-
thing.
I enjoy watching this ship
Like
like
a
undock.
dink.
Yeah. It looked so cool.
Yeah.
It looked so cool, man.
What do you not like?
I was going to say, I hate when it landed.
And that's another thing I was confused about
Because
because
how it shows that it lands perfectly. Almost perfectly.
and then
No.
the whole crew was like, "Walk out."
Dude, wow. For real.
I was curious. I
Well,
didn't.
it lands. It shows you the topography of that map. It's all jagged.
Yeah,
and all that
but
stuff.
it shows the feet where it lands.
Yeah, it lands on
it's-
rocks and
But it
everything.
still
and
flattens it out. It doesn't show that it shakes it or anything.
I don't know. I think the only thing that we're led to believe is that it gets damaged somehow. So maybe
Yeah.
they landed on like one of those like pokey parts. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know how
yeah,
else to
no,
say
like
it. I don't know how else to say
like a
it.
stalactite or something like that, or
like
yeah.
one of the
Mountains.
one of the things.
Then you call it a pointy part.
I don't know. Yeah, I didn't know the word for it.
Oh,
So-
we
No.
don't know the word.
Yeah, but the miniature of the thing I thought was awesome, man.
Yeah.
Of it coming out and then you slowly see the engines turn on to go to the ship. I was like,
yes.
man,
That's
they really
cool.
went
That was
all
cool.
out. The
Yeah.
use of no CGI here, I think, is what holds up.
Yeah.
Because if this was like horribly edited right here,
It'd be
I would be
trash.
laughing.
Yeah.
Like more than I already am. I'm already laughing.
Yes.
And the CGI would have just destroyed it for me.
Yeah. I think that's one thing that I really appreciate is the use of miniatures.
Yeah.
And another director that we all really like, who
Yeah.
still uses miniatures today, is Wes Anderson.
Mm-hmm.
Like a ton of sets that he builds for movies. Like I immediately think of the Grand Budapest Hotel.
The actual hotel
the
itself,
actual hotel
right? Yeah.
itself is all a miniature.
That's
And
insane.
he uses a specific camera and lens to make sure that he can like get that shot along with the help of some CGI.
Yeah.
But most of all the work is all miniatures. Same thing
Mhm.
with like films like Fantastic Mr. Fox
Oh, I love
or
that movie.
Isle of Dogs. Like there's a lot of work and you can tell passion
It's a lot
that
of
goes
work.
into these type of projects. And I think that's something that I miss about cinema now is because CGI is so easy.
Mhm.
It's real easy to like program, things and make things look a certain way and all that stuff. But when you really get down to like the nitty gritty of things and like you get someone who's passionate about building sets or building props and all that stuff
Yeah.
and everything, it adds a lot of charm, I think.
Well,
to the movie.
Yeah, and I will say too, when you're limited you're forced to be creative.
Exactly.
And these people got creative.
Exactly.
I mean, I love that undocking thing. It almost looks alien. It
Yeah.
reminds me of the head hugger, or what's it called?
The face hugger.
The face hugger. Because the way it opens,
it goes.
it looks like fingers.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is so cool.
Yeah.
They had to literally build that
Yeah.
and have it do the whole.
Yeah.
It's so sick.
Yeah.
And I really did appreciate it. I mean, they really did the most work here. I'm really excited to see the budget because I imagine it's huge just to get this thing out there.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, since we're talking about that planet, I'll just talk about my next favorite scene,
Okay.
which is finding those eggs.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was sick.
Yeah, that was a bro moment for me.
Really?
Yeah.
I love it, dude. I liked
it because, one, it was so... so this is, like I said, I feel like I've seen this movie, but I've never seen it.
Mhm.
And in watching this, I don't remember this scene. So seeing when that guy trips, my heart dropped. Because, like, oh, shoot, dude, you just fell on a planet that you don't know.
Yeah.
Like, you're about to get messed up. Like,
Yeah. I love the whole look of like the layer of fog.
fog.
Like it's blue and it's all like laser lights, you
Mhm.
know? Yeah, super sick.
And this is one of the parts where I actually jumped. Is when it shows an egg, and you see the xenomorph just move in there, and and it made me jump. Like I was watching the movie last night, and I jumped back. I was like, bro, why did I jump? But I just it's just insane to see how many eggs there was.
Oh, tons.
Just to know that they had to build that set.
Oh yeah, the egg, the translucency. I think they use like egg or a cow stomach or something like that.
Wow.
To
That's
get
insane.
the translucency right.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, seeing that and compared to that person, I forget who it was, you're surrounded and you're screwed.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
You're done.
I think one of the things that was a bro moment for me in this scene was because Kane has a helmet on,
Mm-hmm.
and you know you see the face hugger whenever it sprouts out of the egg and lands on the helmet, you immediately think, or at least I do, that he's safe, he's got a helmet on.
Yeah.
But no, this thing like penetrates the glass, that one shield that you've got, it penetrates in there, and then whenever Kane eventually gets back on the ship, we see that it's fully like crawled into the helmet and
dude.
wrapped around his head.
I don't
What
want
would
to.
you do if you saw that?
I'm not trying to be harsh to this movie, but I think that's probably the scariest part of this movie is just
is
thinking
those-
about that thing,
Yeah, on you,
like
seeing it.
in your mouth, literally breathing for you.
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't.
No, not at all.
Like and when you see that, like his long bony fingers
Yeah,
wrap around his
it's
head,
like
and
spider-like.
It ain't no
It
fingers.
is.
Those are freaking tentacles.
whatever
Yeah.
they are, man. And then it wraps around its neck.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Oh, man.
it was such
If
a
you
bro
try to
moment for
pry it
me.
off before it's
Yeah,
done, it'll
it
kill the
just-
host.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, Well, they're like, well, let's just try to barely pry it off, and they barely even moved like a finger of that thing,
It
and
starts to
immediately
constrict.
starts to constrict its throat. And I
Yeah.
said,
Yep.
oh, dude, you're messing with something that you don't even know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the reason why I like this scene too is because we get shots of Ash watching over them through cameras and all that, and the cameras turn off, and I think it's Ripley who ends up finding out like, hey, this isn't a distress beacon; it's more like a warning.
Yeah.
And we hear that, I'm like, oh, this is how it starts.
Yeah.
This is how it's going.
Yeah.
And of course, Ash is like, no, don't go out there and get them. They don't need help. It won't matter anyways.
Yeah.
All the while, it's just building his character up. I love how they do it because I immediately just don't like him. I just
Yeah.
think that he's a trash human being.
Yes.
He looked. You look at his facial expressions for everything, and he looks like a trash human being.
He does,
Well, and
dude.
the thing that they do to set it up that way, I think, is whenever Ash specifically brings up that, like, well, actually, if you violate any of your contract, you forfeit any money and blah blah blah. Like he's the guy that's like,
Computing.
no, he's the guy that's like, teacher, you forgot to give us homework.
Oh, true.
Oh, bro.
And everyone hates that kid.
Yeah.
He's that guy.
Yeah.
So they set him up to be like, oh, this guy's dude. He's a by the book type guy.
Yeah.
That's annoying. It's annoying when the guy is like, actually, we need to follow the rules.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like sometimes not everything's that cookie cutter. You need to be able to stretch it a little bit and use the rules to your advantage.
Yeah.
Oh,
You know?
man, you said that, and remember one time I got so upset I didn't do a book report, and some kid said, "Are we turning our book reports in today?"
Oh, dude.
Bro. No, I was
Seriously, bro.
Bro, that's what you reminded me of when you said that. Sorry.
Oh, that's funny.
Freshman year.
And you know what? I didn't, for some reason, like I just pictured I didn't ever connect the final form of the alien to how we start with the face hugger.
Dude, no, it does not. No.
No, and but I like the transition. I like that we get the transformation and how abrupt it is. We're like, wow, we're really dealing with something that's completely foreign and completely dangerous.
Yes.
I mean, we even get the scene too where they try to cut it, and a bunch of acid spews out.
Yeah.
That's a big
And it
moment.
eats through like 3 floors of the ship.
Yeah.
Which is all metal.
Yeah.
Now, that's one of the parts where I laughed because it spews out, and all the crew is like, "Look, let's follow it. Let's follow it." But I'm like,
Yeah.
what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? You don't have anything to catch it.
Yeah.
I died when they gave him the pen.
Yeah, the pen, and he touched it. He goes, "You can have your pen
You
back."
can have your pen back.
Yeah.
But they were like following it like they had a plan of action,
Oh.
and then they get to the very end, and I'm like, "All right, what are you gonna do?"
Yeah.
And they're just like, "Oh, it seems to be stopping." I'm like, "What? You're lucky."
Yeah.
But yeah, that whole scene is great.
Yeah. That's actually my favorite scene is whenever we see Kane in the infirmary with the face hugger on. And I got to say the look of the face hugger is insane, and seeing this guy just helpless with this thing on him is just terrifying. Like I could not imagine being in a situation like that, especially with something that like looks that much like a spider. I'm deathly afraid of spiders.
Oh,
bro.
Yeah.
And so if something that big is on my face,
Oh, dude.
I might as well just die right then and there.
Honestly,
Like-
okay, put me in the situation. If I had that John on my face, would you leave me? I would expect you guys to leave me on that planet.
and
get out of there.
And that's the thing is that we didn't
I don't
even talk
know.
about Ash opening up the door.
Bro,
and
Oh, no, well, I was
No.
gonna say that for bro moments because that's
yeah,
Whoever.
yeah. Ash is
Your mom.
he's got ulterior motives,
he does.
and
Ever since the beginning.
we get put in a situation where we're getting told by Dallas that there's something on Kane's face. It's a foreign object. We need to get it off of him and save this guy. And Ripley, being the sound of reason, is like
believe it or not.
Ripley, believe it or not, is being the sound of reason.
Dude.
And she is like, no, listen, regardless of what's on him, that's a foreign entity.
She said,
And you need to follow the quarantine rule of 24 hours.
yeah,
and,
she said,
and
I'm not opening
I'm
this
not
door."
opening this door, man. You would do the same thing if it was me.
Yep.
And he's like, open the door. It's a direct order. Blah blah blah. And Ash was sitting there the whole time by the door and manually opens it and lets them in.
Yeah.
And
immediately, look, you can kind of be like, okay, well, that's a captain.
yeah,
Like, he's gonna let him in. But
Nah,
when we get the
dude.
reveal later on, we're like, oh, that mother. Yeah, I hate him. Like everything he's doing is like to their detriment.
yes,
You little trash can.
yes, definitely.
Oh, take out the H, add an S, dude.
Yeah, but yeah. I also
I didn't see what you did
talking
until
about-
now.
yeah. I enjoy that entire scene where Kane's in the infirmary with that thing on his face and the feeling of like unknown and
I'm
being
gonna try
like
to
and
find
being
a
like
facehugger replica and then just put it on your bed.
no.
Dude.
I love the whole feeling of the unknown and being like, what do we do? Like, we've never encountered this type of thing before. We're just trying to touch it, and it looks like it's gonna kill him. It bleeds acid. Like, what do we do? We just leave him here? Like, there's nothing we can do.
I might
And
be too pragmatic, bro. Send him out the airlock. I'm telling
shoot him
you,
into space.
like, dude, and that's why I'm like, oh, they're just so ill-equipped. Like, they're not
Yeah,
they're not a rescue.
yeah.
They don't know what they're doing. I mean, they're breaking quarantine. They have this guy that has a literal alien on his face, and they're not like holding him down or keeping a watch on him or having
No.
anything. Like
Nothing.
nothing. He literally is just like laying there.
Yeah,
I'm like, oh, I'd be farthest away from this dude as I could possibly get.
yeah.
Um,
What's your next favorite scene?
it's a little down the ways. It's actually the whole Ash reveal. So if you have anything before
Oh.
that,
I have
Mine's-
one before, and it's because I literally started crying laughing, and it's the chest bursting.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite scenes.
Hello, my baby.
Yeah.
Hello, my honey.
Yeah, Spaceballs. Yeah, they killed that with this
killed
movie.
Doing the whole tap dance. Like,
Going.
yeah.
Yeah, that's super
So
funny.
great.
But yeah, this is my favorite scene as well. If you want to break that down.
So basically, Ash finally gets that thing just comes off of him, right? Or it's just
Yeah, no. Eventually,
It's dead.
they
Like, it's
come-
done its job.
Yeah, it's done with him.
done with him.
essentially.
Yes, and we didn't know what was
It is
happening.
him. Part of him, at least.
Yeah.
That we know now. And finally, Ash wakes up. Or not Ash. What's his name?
Kane.
Kane. Kane wakes up, and they're like, "How are you?" Like blah blah blah, and he's like, "I'm hungry. I'm thirsty. Give me food. Give me water. Whatever." And it goes to a scene where they're like, "Okay, let's have this one meal," and everybody's finally having another meal together. Everybody's getting along, being joyful, and out of nowhere, Kane just starts like suffocating, and they're like, I was laughing because they look at him and they're like, "Oh, he's joking.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's just messing around." For like 20 seconds, they're not doing anything to him, and then finally they're like, "Get up and do something," and then he just starts like,
His chest.
his chest is hurting, but he just starts like, I don't know how to describe it. He's
He's
just
like convulsing.
Yeah, convulsing, for
Convulsing?
sure.
Yeah.
Is that what you would call it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's just like literally thinks he's dying.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually he lands on the table, and you just see blood come out, like blood splatter.
Yeah.
And you're like, "Oh,
well,
shoot."
you see something go
Yeah.
hit his chest. Yeah.
And then finally, I don't know what do they call it?
It's a
that
xenomorph.
form.
Yeah.
Wasn't there a name for that form?
A xenomorph.
Is it a xenomorph?
Yeah, that's just a baby. Yeah. It just hasn't fully grown into.
Well, so a xenomorph comes out of its chest, and it makes this noise.
Yeah, it goes.
It like I'm not gonna recreate
Dude.
it, but it does this noise, and it just skirts off,
Yeah.
and I
goes,
die.
Yeah.
And I just die laughing because it's just
It's a puppet.
yeah.
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 It is. And it's
100%.
that's one of the scenes where it was unfortunate, where I was just like, bah! You know, like, I sat there and was like, no, they're doing it like that. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
The way it skirts off is funny.
it's like
Exactly.
no motion. It's
yeah,
like someone
just
like
goes,
off screen
yeah,
pulls
it. Goes, ring, like
Yeah.
someone yanking it. Yeah. I have to say I love this scene. I think it's iconic. It's I love the juxtaposition of having this like meal and having this camaraderie again that was in the beginning of the film and being like, "Oh man, it's good to have you back," and all this stuff. And then it taking a turn for the worst. And it almost becoming like a possession.
Mhm.
Like that's what I immediately thought of whenever I see you see him like getting up and being like and falling on the table and writhing around on the table and people trying to pin him down and like people are coming for his neck trying to like get food out of his mouth. They think he's choking.
Well, what's the situation with the spoon?
I don't.
They
I'm
were
not
trying to get a
recalling.
spoon in his mouth.
Yeah, I think if he's having a seizure, it's something to bite, right? So that way he doesn't bite his tongue off. But like people are grasping at straws.
Yeah.
Essentially, they're trying to do anything they can to try to help this guy. They don't know what's wrong with them, and I liked that. You know, there's an essence there of unknown. Like we don't know what's going on. We're not medics. We're not.
We're just normal
Warriors. We're
people.
just people. Like
Yeah.
we're just people who came here to work. Like, and we have no idea what we're doing. And I love seeing the freaking the thing pop up out of the chest and everybody getting so shocked whenever the blood like splatters everywhere.
Mhm.
And then when that thing finally pops out of his chest, you're like, holy cow! And then it you see its little mouth move and you can tell it's a puppet and it's all
Yeah,
And then,
dude.
darts away after.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed this scene as well.
Yeah, it's really nice to see this like almost like infant thing, and we obviously, especially because the cover has the final form on
Yes.
it, we see that this tiny little thing transforms rapidly into
Yes.
this massive alien.
Yeah.
I mean, literally alien. Like,
Yeah. I also want to say, why is the baby xenomorph low-key cute?
No.
like it's like one of those like so ugly it's cute things. And I seen it and I was like, it's cute. It's cute,
Thinking-
low key though. Like
don't
I would
know.
love to have a little plush of it, a little plushie. Like, but
Thinking about the design, it almost reminds me of, you know how when we get the final form and that little, like, it opens its mouth and then the smaller mouth pops out?
yes,
It looks like that's what the baby is. It's
Yeah.
just that, like, smaller mouth,
yeah,
which is, oh, gosh.
yeah.
Oh.
Nasty. Are
He's
you
looking.
saying
He's
it's
looking
cute?
up. He's looking up baby xenomorphs.
I'm
right
like, I
now.
found a full alien xenomorph and it has the silver tooth.
Oh, see, that's kind of cute, though.
Yeah.
Is it like, it's the zipper mouth one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And it's
I've seen that.
It's
That
like
one's cute.
Short and
Super cute.
stubby.
Yeah,
Not long and,
yeah.
you know, fluid.
There's
Yeah.
a face grabber.
When you
That's the one you gotta
plush.
get him.
when you open the zipper mouth, it has the little tongue, and it has a little zipper.
Does
as
it
well.
really?
Yeah,
Attention to detail, man.
yeah.
Oh, that's funny. You guys have any other scenes, though?
My last favorite scene is your next favorite scene, which is Ash's reveal.
This scene is awesome. I did not know anything about Ash, but I thought something was a little funky. There's a whole scene that we'll probably talk about in Bro Moments where Dallas decides to go through the air ducts,
Yes.
and he gets taken away. So
That was a moment where I laughed
with the
when it goes. And I laughed at that part
I-
because it reminded me of James whenever he sings and he
Oh,
goes
yeah.
like that when he sings.
Oh, dude.
I I saw that and I was like, dude, it straight up said, "Give me a hug."
someone's
Like,
in a suit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that scene is the big bro moment. But he gets taken away, and Ripley, I'm guessing, becomes chief, or
Yeah, she's next in command.
yeah,
something.
she's next in command. She should have been in command the entire time, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
But she ends up going and talking to Mother, and
Yeah, this is a
Forget-
huge bro moment for me.
this is
Mother.
a huge. I got to context the scene because it's my favorite as afterwards. But she goes in there, and they realize what the true plan is. There's like a special executive order
Yes.
that's going on, and she reads it, and it's horrifying. It literally is saying like, your objective is to get the alien back safely and unharmed, and nothing else matters. The
Yep.
crew are completely expendable.
Yep.
And she's straight up reading this, going like, "Are you joking me right now?
Yeah.
This is exactly what was meant
Dude,
to
you
happen."
want to bring an alien to Earth.
I don't know.
Yes.
I don't know the plan.
Well, obviously the plan is to like
Weaponize it.
weaponize it or test on it and with anything, there all sci-fi movies or any alien movies, what do humans want to do?
Yeah.
They want to test on the thing, see what it is, run all their things so that way they can make sense of what the thing
Oh
is.
yeah. I thought you were talking about
Arrival.
well, what we were talking about before all this.
Oh.
Humans, they don't want to just test on it; they want to love on it.
Yeah. Yeah,
What,
true.
this isn't District what? District 13?
District
District 9.
District. Oh, I don't know.
Yes.
That movie's great too.
Yeah.
But
But
that's
yeah, it's I don't know, it's like a human thing to like be curious about something and want to know everything that there is about it so that way
Everything.
we can, know its weak points or anything like that,
Yeah.
right? And yeah, finding out that, the order is to get this thing back safe so that way they can do whatever it is that they're
They
wanting with
said,
it.
forget you and
know.
your crew.
Yeah.
Mhm, seriously.
It's huge. And
Eh.
to find out that our lead is like, hey, they don't care about you, dude. They said that they could die. We don't
Oh.
care. We won't pay them.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's better for us if they die because then we won't have to pay.
Yeah. Now tell me how you guys felt about when she gets that information and then the camera pans and you just see Ash like right over her shoulder.
Sweating nut.
He's sweating milk. What? Like that's your first instinct of like, okay, something's up with this
He's
guy.
dripping. He's dripping white.
Yeah.
What is
He
this?
said, huh? And then they get to this whole altercation where he grabs a certain way where it's like it's grabbing like hydraulic and it's
Yeah.
hurt. It hurts. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
he's like almost like pulling into is Parker's chest.
Yeah,
isn't it?
yeah.
And he's like going like this, and you see Parker go, ah, like he's like almost like drilling into his chest.
Yeah, and that's when we start to realize, okay, this is more than just a human.
Yeah.
It's insanely strong.
Maybe he's just buff.
No, insanely strong, dripping
Yeah.
white stuff out of his pores. Like,
yeah.
there's something wrong.
He's either that or he's homeboy from Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom when Kali Ma pulls the heart out of that guy. Yeah, that's it's either that or he's a synth.
He's
And we find out he's a synth
He's
when
a
freaking Parker whacks his head off.
and
And you see you see it like flailing
yeah.
and you see his body still going around, but he's got all these like wires coming out of his head, and all this white stuff is spewing everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had heard or read that it was supposed to the fight between Ripley and Ash is supposed to be sort of like sexual, and it's supposed to like fall into that realm because he gets that like newspaper and decides to like shove it in her mouth, and it's very uncomfortable to watch.
Yeah,
and it's supposed. The whole film is oozing just like this sexual themes and tension
oozing
throughout the whole thing.
Yeah, he is oozing.
He's oozing. A couple ways he's oozing.
I'm sorry.
It's not good, man.
No.
And it's whenever I realized that, I was like, oh, now I think about it, that like the paper being shoved in her mouth. I just thought that was uncomfortable, but now that I think about it in like a very like uncomfortably like sexual way, it makes it so much worse.
It makes it sick.
It does.
Yeah.
And when I read that, I was like, oh, dude, it's a perfect highlight just to the rest of the art style of this film, this franchise.
Yeah.
Wanted to bring that up.
Yeah.
But, man, seeing him get his head knocked off and just spew out white.
Yeah.
It's nasty.
Yeah. It's a huge bro moment, not only seeing that this man is a robot, but whenever they are still able to communicate with this thing with its head off.
Yeah.
And like they like lay the body like on a table, and you see like his arm, like when they like touch certain things, its reflexes are still intact, so it's all
Mm-hmm.
and then they finally like connect the head back, and it's such a bad cut.
It is.
Whenever
It's so
it's so
noticeable.
obvious, but
It's so bad.
like it's like a dummy head they're trying to like prop up so that way it'll stay upright, and then you see like a very obvious cut, and it's homeboy like back to normal with his head on the table, and he's all like this.
It's like there's a whole other
and he's
table.
dripping that stuff again, but it's out of his mouth this time, bro.
It's so overtly sexual.
Yeah.
Like you see that and you're like,
come on, bro.
come on. Like
He's oozing.
he's
That's what he
oozing.
said.
And it's like the consistency, man, it's not good.
It's a type of milk.
Ah.
It's a type. But yeah, it's
Why'd you say it like that?
there's this.
Man, that sounds. I
There's
used
this
to
pastor.
say milk like that
No,
all the
there's
time.
this pastor, and he talks about how semen is a type of milk, but the way he says it, I hear it on a soundbite form on the H3 podcast all the time, where he says, "Semen is like a kind of milk."
He says it like that?
Yeah,
Oh.
I used to say milk like.
Like milk?
milk.
No, I used to say milk.
With your tongue out like that?
No, literally.
Milk.
No, literally.
Seriously?
Yeah, until I was like 8 or 9.
Oh, man.
No, could be me.
Couldn't be me.
Yeah.
Am I
That
okay?
guy
Yeah.
tripping milk.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
I like this scene a lot, though. It has one of my favorite quotes in it, and it's just the reason why they're resurrecting this robot is because the xenomorph is fully formed now. It's already killed. It's already killed Kane.
yes,
It's already killed Benny.
Brett.
It's already killed Brett.
It's killed Lambert.
It's killed
the other girl.
Oh, has it yet?
I-
No.
Oh no, it
Not
hasn't
yet,
at that
not
point.
yet.
Yeah,
It's
you're
at
right.
the
you're right.
end.
Yeah, that's at
Because
the end.
Brett and Lambert die together.
No.
Yeah, because
Parker and Lambert.
Parker. Sorry.
Right.
Yeah.
They resurrect him to say like, how can we kill this thing? You're the only person who knows anything about it. Please help us.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing's straight up saying like I know your odds and I have my sympathies for you guys
Yeah.
because you're all gonna die. Like
Yeah.
that's the
Straight
only
up,
option
that's what he
here.
says. I have my sympathies. For
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hate how they try to humanize him. Like he has feelings.
What do you mean?
Oh, like the synth it can actually have sympathy.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh yeah, that's like Westworld type stuff.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it though. I was like, wow, they're really desperate for
Yeah.
information.
Mhm.
Yeah. My last favorite scene is Ripley setting the self-destruct. And I don't know if you have anything before that. So this is pretty much towards the end of the film.
Yeah.
And it's just a stressful sequence.
It
I think
is.
it's a fun sequence. You know, it's one of those like buzzer beater type things, but she doesn't beat the buzzer.
Oh.
And she initially starts the self-destruct because she wants to get in a shuttle and lead the xenomorph on the Nostromo, so that way it will blow up and get rid of it. And that way she can make a getaway. And now she sets the self-destruct, and it explicitly states, like on the thing, that self-destruct will happen in 10 minutes, and the ability to cancel the self-destruct will expire after 5 minutes. So you need to like make up your mind if you like want to.
At least it gives her a chance.
An option to like let it cancel it. But I thought it was so interesting the way that it gets set up the self-destruct.
Yeah, it's cool.
And like she has to like pull these levers, and then this box pops out. She's got to unlock the box, pull up, like screw in these knobs, pull up these like piston looking things, click buttons, and then like set the self-destruct.
Mm-hmm.
And in order to like stop it, she's got to reverse all of that. And it's whenever you
It's counting down.
Yeah, whenever it's counting down, you're like, this is so counterproductive. Like, why couldn't it be just a button?
Yeah.
Like now you got to go through all this process of being like, I got to push this down, flip these back up, go over here, flip the switches back, like, and it's a super stressful sequence. And I forget exactly why she decides she wants to cancel the self-destruct, because she sets it, she runs around.
It was a little confusing.
Yeah,
because she sends Parker and Lambert
yes,
to go.
Lambert.
Yep. She sends them to go and get coolant for their trip, because they're going to need a bunch of coolant to get where they need to go back to Earth. And she hears them like screaming on the telecom or whatever. Get out of the way! I can't. She hears all that.
Yes.
It's kind of ridiculous. And she sets it and then runs to them. Notices that they're dead, and my guess is that the alien is in the way to get to the ship that they need to get to.
Oh, okay.
I think that's what it was, because she goes around that corner, and she sees the alien.
She sees the dead bodies and like the shadow of the alien.
Yeah.
I think,
Mhm.
right.
And then she runs back and then tries to do the self.
Yeah, so it probably was in her way,
Okay.
but she ends up getting to it anyways afterwards.
Mm.
So I was like, "What? Why did they?"
Yeah.
She just did that so we can get those gusts of air, like the
Yeah.
pipes going.
Yeah.
It's like, come on.
Yeah. But I thought it was just a big bro moment whenever, usually in a movie like this, or, a very cliche thing to do would be like, oh, she canceled the self-destruct. But she fails to do so. And it's like by like a second
Yeah.
where she like puts those things back up. And like right after she pushes those levers back up, Mother is like, time to cancel self-destruct has now expired. Ship will detonate in 5 minutes. It's like, oh, dude, are you kidding me? She didn't get it. So now it's going to explode. So now she has to escape or else she's going to die. And I loved those shots of like afterwards she's trying to escape with her life. So she grabs a flamethrower and is walking through these halls. And, you see these strobing lights and yellow lights from certain alarms going off, and the glow of the flamethrower like in certain shots, and it looks super sick. But I will say, after a while, it started to feel like an assault on the senses, and like my eyes started hurting, like because of just these strobes just going hitting, and then these loud alarms just going woo woo, like it's loud.
Yeah.
I can only imagine what it would be like being on set that day.
That's tough.
Or like actually going through that in real life. Like I can imagine how much harder that would make your escape, or how much more stressful it would be, right?
100%.
But yeah, I loved that whole sequence of her trying to escape, and then eventually getting on the shuttle and escaping the Nostromo before it explodes.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that's my last favorite scene. But then the movie eventually ends, like I think like 10 minutes after that. And we even see that
I initially thought that it ended when she was escaping, because you
yeah.
see this like explosion out the rearview mirror, or out the rearview mirror like it's a car of like the back glass, and you see this like as she's slowly getting farther and farther, it's getting smaller and smaller and smaller, and then you see that it's almost like a nuke.
Yeah.
in
I was gonna
space
say
goes
it's
off.
an in-space nuke, essentially.
Yeah, it really
Yeah.
is.
Because that what's it called? What was it? Ship? I think they said it was like 2 miles long.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, the sheer scale of it, holy crap! It dwarfs like literally anything.
Mm-hmm.
It's incredible how big it is.
Yeah.
And she goes off, and I thought, because she's like going through like the residual blast or
Yeah.
whatever, and I'm like, oh, okay, this is where they're ending it.
Yeah.
Heck no, man.
Nope.
She's
still
getting
a
all
little bit-
naked. She's getting
Yeah,
all
she's about to
comfortable like
get-
she's won.
Yeah, she's about to get in the sleep chamber, go back to sleep, and on her way home.
Dude.
And right when she's doing something on the computer, and that's when we see
Little
the xenomorph is
peen
taking a nap
head.
too.
Yeah.
Peen head.
Just how it's laying there, you see, it's like a dome piece in the wall.
Yeah.
I saw that and I was like, oh crap.
Yeah.
Now she's really jacked.
Yeah. I think what's funny too is like, was it just taking a nap?
I don't know what it was
You
doing.
know?
That's the thing.
And that's the thing. Like,
it was watching
was
her
hiding.
it was watching her undress.
yeah, something.
She,
But
what?
but she's doing something, and like you can see its headpiece,
Yeah.
and something happens where like I think she notices it, or its arm goes out,
something.
and like
No, she backs up to it, and then moves.
yeah, and then it goes like, and
Yeah.
you hear the movement of it going.
But it doesn't like move. Like
No,
just
it's like
stays
it
there.
looks like it's like asleep.
I thought it might have been damaged
okay.
somehow. Like maybe Parker did burn it or something,
Mm-hmm.
but it just didn't get shown.
Okay.
Because I had to believe something. I was like, we never got the characterization of this alien taking a nap or going to sleep
Yeah.
or just chilling.
Yeah.
Like right whenever it sees prey, it attacks.
Yes.
So when it's just chilling as a part of the wall, I was like, why isn't it sprinting
Yeah.
towards her and mauling her to death?
Yeah.
you know?
Exactly.
I was
But
confused.
that's when we see.
I was forced to rationalize. Oh, it's
Yeah.
it's hurt.
Yeah. Yeah. That's when we see that Ripley eventually gets one up on the xenomorph, and she like
I love it.
she first off, I love her hiding in where all the suits are, and like trying to get in the suit like
Slow.
real quiet and
Mhm.
slow, and then strapping herself into the chair, grabbing a harpoon gun, like waking it up, and then like she essentially baits it near the airlock, and buckles it up, harpoons that thing, shuts the door, and like the thing that scared me
Is
is
it-
it starts to get back in the thruster,
Oh, dude.
and I was like, it's coming back, dude.
Yeah.
You better blast those things. And she immediately like turns the thrusters on, and you see it go whew, and
Yeah.
fly away.
Man, that's why I
Yeah.
like her character so much.
Yeah.
Because she's not like you would expect that all the males are, they're strong, they can handle it.
Yeah.
But she uses a completely different side, and it ends up being the saving grace for her.
Yes.
Her brains.
Yes.
I mean, she throughout the entire movie has been the only one talking sane,
Yes.
talking any kind of sense at all,
Yes.
and nobody is listening to her, nobody at all, and they're all dead because of it.
Yep.
And to get to see her like use her cunningness to outsmart this alien, I was like, this is
Yeah.
sick.
Yeah.
Because it's not gonna be believable if she like gets a chain like a saw or something and goes where
Yeah.
it's not believable.
Yeah.
The only way to kill something like this is to outsmart it.
Yeah.
So I really enjoyed how they ended it here.
Yeah. For sure.
Um,
Yeah. That's Alien.
yeah,
Alien.
alien.
All right. With that being said, if there are no more favorite scenes, let's get into the best quote category.
Yes, I have one only.
Yeah, I only have one.
It's from
I don't
Ash.
have any. So
I'll talk about my Ash one. It's when they reconstruct him, and they're asking him like, "Hey, how do we kill this thing?" And he goes, "You still don't understand what you're dealing with, do you? The perfect organism. Its structural perfection is matched only by its hostility." And Lambert goes, "You admire it." And then he says, "I admire its purity. A survivor, unclouded by conscience, remorse, and delusions of morality." I
oh
was like, what the?
yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah, mine from Parker. And, man, Parker's my guy, dude. And my favorite thing that he said was, so, you think we should talk about this bonus situation? Bro, he's all about the bag.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
And that's my guy.
He's like, I need to get paid for this, bro.
Yeah.
I didn't do this for nothing.
Yeah. And that's my quote.
Yep.
All right. Let's get into some bro moments that we haven't talked about.
There's quite a bit.
Yeah. First off, my first bro moment, we've talked about it kind of a little bit already, but is the Nostromo getting busted once landing for the distress signal.
Yeah.
The distress signal.
Dude.
Yeah, I said, bro, tell me how landing can cause so much
Yeah.
damage when it showed it landed good.
Yeah, I said, why did the ship at the beginning have hull damage? Question mark.
Yeah.
Because I was.
Because it landed on a pointy piece.
Well, it looked okay. So it looked like everything was perfect. They were landing in a perfect spot, but like one of the legs landed on a rock. And then like it immediately cuts to everyone like thrashed.
Yeah.
And there's like everything's breaking.
Yes.
I was like, what the heck
How?
happened? What happened?
Yeah.
I don't know what happened here.
Yeah.
That's why I was like, bro, what is going on?
Yeah, I get you
Yeah.
there.
It was a bro moment for me finding out that Homeboy was like, it could take 17 hours, 24 hours to repair all of the damage in order for us to get the ship back off the ground.
Yeah.
That
it
was
gives us some tension.
Yeah,
Oh,
where
we
it
have
was
a
like
reason to explore.
yeah.
For sure.
Now, this might be a little controversial, but I said, why in the world would you take a cat to space? I feel like there's way more important to focus on than this stupid little cat.
It gives us
And
something.
it's a bro moment to me because we don't need a cat.
It gives us something to root for, you know, like
Yeah.
other than a human, right? I mean, how many animal characters are there in Pixar films that don't need to be there, but you're like, oh, I love it, it's so cute though.
And
But this
Got
cat, no, no, you got me. Okay, but that's not the point. There's way more reasons why I think this cat is dumb, and we'll talk about them in more
it's
brother
a
moments.
plot device. But I will say there's like a theology of character building and how to build a relatable character is you have them have a cat or save a cat.
Yeah.
And I think that might have been part of the reason why they had Sigourney Weaver's character do that. Because she's been kind of like against everything that's going on. And she's this like smart, brainy, like bad A, you know, I'm gonna be a headstrong woman
Yeah.
and make my decisions known. I could see, even especially at the time, people being like, not being able to connect that well.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, but she saved a cat.
Yeah.
But there is like a theology that says like an easy way to get the audience to like a character is to have them save an animal.
Yeah.
So
Most definitely.
wanted to bring that up. But
We-
yeah, that cat's a
we giggling
freaking
about-
bro moment.
It's you guys are gonna dog on me, but you heard of the sayings: "Save a horse, ride a cowboy." Save a
Why
cat,
you
ride a
thinking-
xenomorph.
Save a cat, ride a xenomorph.
Hey, there's some freaks out there.
Yeah, dude.
That's what's in my head. I don't know why.
My next bro moment is when exploring the planet, seeing that big skeleton
Yeah,
on like
they
that
call
like
it
like a huge gun, like it almost looks like
They call it a something jockey, a sock
don't-
jockey.
something. I don't know.
Yeah.
No,
I don't know.
I can't remember.
But it
what
looks
they called
insane. And like the fact that like they get so close to it and they're like examining it and seeing the bones and seeing that like something burst out of its chest.
Yeah,
Mm.
it's foreshadowing.
Yeah.
What happens?
And
to
like
freaking
seeing the look
Kane.
of everything, and it's just insane looking. I really enjoyed seeing like this as a set piece
Mhm.
and them exploring the world around them and being like, what the hell is this thing? Like this is our first, notion of alien life that we haven't discovered yet. And it's this huge thing like attached to what looks like either like a big like telescope or a gun.
Space jockey.
Space jockey.
Yeah,
They
it's called
jockey.
the pilot.
Yeah.
But it's commonly referred to as space jockey.
Yeah.
I really like that just because, to see the humans there, it looked like it was not built for humans at all.
No.
Like they're so tiny compared to this big freaking thing. They had to climb up what seemed like steps for these big guys.
Yeah.
It was the attention to detail for these terrestrial planets were awesome.
Yes. What's your guys' next bro moment?
My next bro moment is Ash opening the door, dude.
Oh, overriding Ripley's
Yep.
thing.
And can I say that? What I wrote down?
I don't know.
I literally wrote it down. I said,
Right here,
whoever. Yeah, you might have to. I said, whoever opened that hat, your mom's a hoe. I was so upset when that happened because
funny.
that guy, like we talked about it, he has a foreign object on his face. Quarantine him.
Yep.
Follow protocol.
Mm-hmm.
And no, Ash goes, I'm opening that.
Mhm.
Nope.
He's a hoe for that.
Yep.
He is
And
a
that's
big
when we
hoe.
recognize that either this guy is just following the captain's orders or he has ulterior motives.
Mhm.
When you watch it back, obviously,
He's
He's like,
motive.
I'm fulfilling the mission that I was programmed to do.
Get the xenomorph on the ship.
Yep.
So
My-
then, do you think? My question, real quick. Do you think he knew about the xenomorphs?
yes.
Yes.
That's why he was sent there.
Yeah.
And I even think too because Dallas makes a claim saying that oh, I was with the other head of science chief guy before that. So I even thought like, well, maybe they killed the other guy or they like retired him early so they could send a new guy on so they can fulfill the mission.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
That's smart, actually. I never thought about that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
My next one is after Kane was attacked by the facehugger and he's been brought back on the ship. When the facehugger leaves, seeing it gone.
People are walking around looking for it.
Yeah, and they're walking around the room being like, where is it? And they're like, they all have these like little like pens. And they're like looking around, trying to poke at it.
Dude,
see
imagine
where
they
it's
find it
at.
in like a crevice and it just grabs your hand.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the building of tension in this entire scene is great because it could be anywhere.
Yeah.
It's like it's not like insanely big, so it can hide like in little nooks and crannies. And when we find out that this spaceship has air ducts, it's got like 4 different floors. Who knows? Like it's 2 miles long. Abe said like.
Yeah.
It's huge.
Yeah.
It could be anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't know if it's going to die after, it's impregnated my boy.
Yeah.
And, when we see it finally, drop down and, you see a tail and I think it's Ripley that bumps into it and it falls down.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only moment that I got jump scared at was seeing that thing fall down and then being like, oh, it's dead.
Yeah.
And then getting that whole scene where they're like testing on it and trying to like poke around in it and doing all that stuff.
Yeah. My next bro moment is seeing freaking Kane get airlocked his dead body. Dude, it just went.
I should have said. Did
love
he
the
just launch a
practicality.
body into space?
Yeah, the practicality here is awesome.
I mean, what else are you gonna do with the dead body? Like,
It's true. It's just gonna sit there and rot.
Yeah, that's true.
Dump it. Yeah. My next one, we've already talked about finding out Mother's actual mission for the Nostromo. Actually, I think we've talked about all of mine actually, because my last one is finding out that Ash is a synth.
Oh no, mine is the biggest bro moment. I said, looks like the most uncomfortable underwears.
Oh,
See,
that
Ripley-
Ripley's wearing. She's wearing like low cut bikini.
Why does it look so
underwear.
uncomfortable?
why is it so thin
It's
on
so
top?
thin and
it's
It's
so,
so thin,
low. Like
and you see her butt crack, and I'm just like,
half of her
I
butt
mean,
crack is out. I'm like, it's got to be so
It's
uncomfortable.
unpractical.
It's so impractical.
Yeah,
imagine being in that suit. She didn't put any pants on
No.
in that suit.
and that seeing that reminds me of like when low rise jeans were really popular for women in like the 2000s, and they'd be like wearing jeans like that like barely are on their hips.
Yeah.
And I see those now, and I'm like, how did anyone ever wear those?
Low-rise
dude? Like,
jeans?
Seems
like
uncomfortable. Like
they seem uncomfortable. They're impractical.
it's like you see it commonly on movies when women are wearing those things, and you see
and
like
you see like their like thong
thong
strings
come up.
like coming up.
Oh,
on top.
okay. I know what you're talking
Yeah.
about.
I don't know. It looks so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It looked like she was wearing like little kid underwear. I'm not gonna lie.
100%.
Yeah.
I
But
saw
yeah.
that. I was like, what the heck,
Yeah.
dude?
It's definitely impractical for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah. Any other bro moments?
Why does she have to care so much about a cat?
He's back on the cat.
I think you just hate cats, bro.
I love cats. I love cats. But Jonesy, stupid cat. She literally goes out of her way to go find a cat. You're about to die. It's a cat.
Well, what if it's your cat? What if it was your dog?
That's okay. I can get another dog. I can't get another life.
You can't get another dog like that.
I can get another dog.
You'll never have another one like that.
I can get another dog. I don't care.
Yeah. Didn't it seem kind of funny though?
Yeah.
Because it was like, oh, you have an alien that's a perfect organism that could literally kill you with acid. Like it could,
Acid
it's
blood.
anywhere. It's literally anywhere. Like
Yeah.
you could blink, you could turn the corner, you could literally
can
look
blink.
up, and it's dripping KY jelly on you. I mean, seriously, like, it could be anywhere. And Ripley's like,
Oh, well, let me hit you with that fact real quick. The slime juice for the alien was KY jelly.
I know.
Yeah.
It's perfect. I mean,
Insane.
very
That
aerodynamic.
ship was
Lubed
up.
up.
Able to slide in and out of those ducts.
Yeah, dude, for real, bro.
Those little sphincter doors, dude.
Yeah, I thought the same thing when you see him go.
Tell me you didn't think of a
Yeah,
booty
I was
hole.
like, that's,
That's a butthole going when like
I was
comes out.
no, I was saying that's a turd cutter if I've ever seen one, bro.
I'm glad I'm not the only one. Okay. But all that to be said, and then she's like, oh, hold on. Let me get Jonesy. Let me get Jonesy out.
Yeah.
That cat scared me more than anything in this movie because anytime you saw the cat, it came out of nowhere,
And it always,
and it would always scare the person that's looking for it. Or
they boosted that freaking audio too. That
boosted.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I was,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, if that's it for the
Sorry.
bro moments,
Yeah.
let's get into some facts.
Yeah. Let me hit with the budget. And you wanted to hear this.
I am
It
curious.
only costed about $11 million to make this movie.
Wow.
Blood,
Well, I mean,
sweat,
you
and
thi-
tears, bro.
I mean, you think about it in '79, it's still a lot of money.
Still a lot
that's
of
true.
money.
That is true.
Opening weekend, it made $3.5 million.
Okay.
Gross for U.S. and Canada made $81.9 million.
Jeez.
And worldwide made $106.2 million.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I can understand why there's a franchise.
Universally loved.
Yep. Definitely.
So,
Makes so much
It
sense.
made well worth its money.
So I have a fact here actually in regards to our boy Parker. He's played by Yafet Kodo, who actually found out passed away last year.
Oh,
So rest in peace.
Rest in peace.
But he was actually told by director Ridley Scott to specifically annoy Sigourney Weaver off camera so that when they would be on camera, it would create genuine tension between their characters. Kodo regretted this because he actually really liked Weaver.
Oh.
Mm.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's kind of...
It's kind of savage.
Yeah.
My next fact, I was always really curious because when we get the scene of the face hugger upside down dead, and they're like poking and prodding at this, it looks so real.
Yes.
Right. So the fact here is that the dead face hugger that Ash autopsies was made using fresh shellfish, 4 oysters, and a sheep kidney to recreate the internal organs. Filming had to be done quickly because the organic material would go bad very fast under the lights.
That's insane. Wow.
Dang.
They get
Yeah.
cooked under the light
Yeah, you get up.
or yeah. Ew, dude.
Pull
You have
another
some
one out.
tripas, dude.
Yeah, that's filthy.
I have one about the xenomorph's like facial structure and stuff. So what they used for his face, this was shredded condoms for the tendons,
That's so
Of its
wild to
jaws.
me.
Yeah.
It's stretchy for sure. That's
and
Hey.
it's lubed up.
yeah.
It's lubed up and
that,
stretchy.
That
If you-
combination with the KY jelly, dude.
Dude, if you've seen a picture of the head, it's phallic.
Yeah.
It is phallic,
Yeah, it
bro.
is, dude.
They don't hide that.
It is very phallic.
Like,
Phallic,
it-
what does that mean? That's a big
Phallic
word.
is, you
Looks
know,
like peen.
it looks like a, yeah. It goes all the way, and then there's a little,
Little
at the end, he's not
There's a
slick.
little head?
Little
He's
helmet
not
head.
slick. HR, what is it? Geiger?
HR Geiger.
He's not slick, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh. That's funny, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, they used
Ripped
shredded condoms
Yeah, that makes
That's
sense.
interesting.
for his ferocious jaws.
So speaking of something ejecting out of something,
Mm.
the chest bursting scene was not filmed in one take, which is contrary to myth. There's a myth that goes around that it was all filmed in one take. The scene was actually filmed twice, but on the first take, the chest burster did not make it through Kane's shirt, so the crew needed to reset and shoot it again. That failed attempt is actually visible in the first scene, in the finished film, since Ridley thought that it made the creature look like it was trying to struggle its way out,
Yeah.
and it made it look more violent.
Yeah, it did. It definitely did.
Yeah,
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
I didn't know that it was a mistake.
yeah,
It looked
yeah.
practical.
That
like-
first hit is it didn't work. The effect
Oh, it was
didn't
supposed to
work.
just go.
Yeah, it was supposed to go out at once, but it didn't work at the
I
first
think it's
time.
smarter to use it like
So
that.
he cut both of them together.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Yeah, I actually have another one too in regards to your favorite person in the film, which is Jonesy the cat.
That what?
And I
It was
I
actually animatronic.
yeah, I actually found myself asking this, but there's a certain scene whenever Brett is trying to look for the cat,
Mhm.
and he gets the cat in a corner, and it starts like hissing at the xenomorph behind Brett.
yes, yeah.
When I was seeing those shots, I was like, man, I wonder how they got it to hiss like that. And to do so, they had a German Shepherd in front of the cat behind a screen. And whenever they started filming, the screen was then suddenly removed to make the cat stop advancing toward the camera and to start hissing at the dog behind it.
That's
That's
get
smart.
creative.
That is
Yeah.
smart. but
Borderline abuse.
Yeah.
I also have one about Jones. and it was actually played by 4 different cats.
Really
Yeah,
What?
yeah.
interesting.
Like identical cats, I guess. I
Yeah.
never.
It
I
says
never
4
noticed.
different cats play Jonesy.
Wow,
That's pretty interesting. Never would have guessed
that's
that.
interesting. I actually have another fact in regards to why the alien was decided to bleed acid. So it was actually conceptual artist Ron Cobb who came up with the idea. And this came about whenever Dan O'Bannon ran into a wall with the screenplay and how to handle the last half of the movie. And he needed a good reason for why the crew members don't just shoot the thing and kill it, but still not make it an indestructible monster that can't be killed. The acid blood was the idea that solved this problem.
Yeah, I mean that's
Yeah.
pretty genius.
Yeah.
You can't just shoot it because rip a hole through either yourself or the ship.
Yeah, exactly.
That's pretty cool. I had a fact about a potential rewatch and a detail that I completely missed. But shortly after the failed attempt to remove the facehugger from Kane, Ash is seen observing an embryo on a monitor. He immediately turns off the monitor when Ripley appears to question him, revealing that he knows Kane is impregnated and that he does not intend to disclose the knowledge.
What?
Wow,
I didn't
okay.
know that.
I didn't know that either.
That's
That is
crazy.
kinda cool.
I read that and I was like, "What? How did I miss that?" It
That's
seems so
interesting.
like obvious.
Yeah.
but I guess I guess I didn't know.
And that's interesting.
I have a fact right here that the original cut of this movie was 3 hours and 12 minutes.
That's insane.
They cut an hour. That's what it ends up being 2 hours or something like
Yeah. So cut a whole hour out
Cut
of
off essentially a whole hour.
it. Man, that's insane. That's crazy. I actually have a casting.
that. What if
What if here?
Nicolas Cage is the Xenomorph? Or what?
No. I'd actually seen that Harrison Ford was offered the role of Captain Dallas, but he turned
Oh.
it down.
Really?
Yep.
I wonder why.
Yeah, I wonder why too. I thought
Because
he could be great.
Blade Runner follows the same like I would imagine that they would be the same universe almost, right? Like it
almost.
follows that same like dystopian, old cyberpunky, like
Maybe he
gritty,
didn't-
grimy.
Yeah, maybe he didn't want to get like typecast into like sci-fi roles specifically because he also was Han Solo.
Yeah, that's true.
So if he's doing
got
Bla-
a freaking career.
Yeah, so if he's doing Blade Runner and Han Solo and then is doing another sci-fi film, maybe in a career aspect he's thinking, I don't want to get
Yeah.
like typecast into just
Yeah.
one role.
I know there's another role out there.
Yeah.
Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Another one that I have is the models that they used for the sets had to be repainted every evening of the shoot because of the slime used on set. It was used. It would remove acrylic paint from the surface. But then it
That's
made me
insane.
think. The slime is
how's that safe for your body, bro? If it can
the
remove
slime
acrylic
is
paint?
KY jelly.
Yeah.
If it can remove acrylic paint, why are we using that?
Yeah.
You say
No,
we?
no, wait.
Hey, that's
Shut
that's
up.
in stone.
Hey yo. No, I'm just kidding.
Then why are humans using it?
Yeah.
I'm
That's
not sure.
Yeah, it's true. The last fact that I have is in regards to the actual the person that played the xenomorph.
Okay.
So first off, director Ridley Scott originally wanted to use animatronics to portray the alien, and they would be like remote operated puppets,
Oh, that'd be terrible.
thereby hoping to avoid the sight of a monster obviously being played by a man in a suit.
Yeah, it was obvious.
Unfortunately, the special effects techniques at the time weren't sophisticated enough for what he had in mind, but he agreed to an actor playing the part after being introduced to the guy who was a graphic artist at the time. His last name, I'm gonna butcher his name. It's
Yeah.
Bolaji Badejo, I'm gonna say. But Badejo was a great graphic artist who was discovered at a pub by one of the casting directors. He was 6 foot 10 inches tall, with super thin arms,
Mhm.
and it looked just like what the alien was supposed to look like, and it was supposed to look less human and more insect-like. And he was sent for Tai Chi and mime classes to learn how to slow down his movements. A special swing had to be constructed for him to sit down during filming, as he couldn't sit on a regular chair once he was suited up because of the alien's tail.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I'm
ju-
looking
I
at his
just looked
picture on
him up.
IMDb. He's wearing the suit, and it fits him.
Yeah.
He just needs that helmet on, and I couldn't tell the difference.
Dang.
He's
Yep.
long and slender.
Yeah.
He passed away at only 35 years old.
Oh, wow. I wonder
He
if it had
had-
anything to do with how tall he is.
It says right here he died of sickle cell anemia.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, that's
39. Excuse me. I said 35, but 39.
Okay.
Man, rest in peace. That sucks.
Most definitely.
My last fact that I have is we talked about it a little bit how long the actual ship is. So the Nostromo is supposed to be 800 feet long, and while the craft that she was towing is 1.5 miles long.
Okay.
1.5 miles.
Dang.
I'm telling you, it's unfathomable how big it is.
Yeah.
Like when the camera pans out and you just see this massive thing moving through the sky, you're like,
What would you do if you we walked outside and just saw something that big?
I'd go into crisis mode.
I'd say
I'd be calling.
it's the end of the world as we know it.
I'd be like, Mom, I love you.
Mom, I love you. B.O.P. Hold it down.
Yep. That'd be me.
And then we die.
Yep. All right. What didn't work for this film?
I put first and foremost to me, this movie is really slow. It does not need to be in it almost 2 hours.
Okay.
And so I liked the beginning of the movie. That was one of my favorite scenes. But I didn't like how slow it was.
Mm.
Okay.
And there was just parts where it was just dragging for me. And I found myself just distracted on my phone or just looking on my laptop.
Okay.
Why are you smiling?
You said dragon.
Oh,
Imagine
yeah.
Dragons. Good. You know what? I will say it was, and I think that I felt similar to you because I really didn't find it that scary, and I found no tension in any of the scenes. Like I read a bunch of reviews and they just say like how tension filled and how wonderful the horror is and how horrified they are of the design and all that stuff, and I can't share that same mentality. I don't know what it was.
I agree with you. I don't think this movie was that scary at all. I jumped, but it was because of the stupid cat.
Mm.
But you also got to think this movie came out in 1979.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a lot of tropes that this pioneered that I already know, that I'm already tired of, that I've seen in movies before. But this is the first one, you know. So it's
and
like
so it's
I give it credit. I do
understandable.
give it some credit there because it's like, it was new then, but I'm not in 1979. I'm watching it now.
Yeah.
I don't. It was hard for me to appreciate more than just of the great set design and stuff like that.
Yeah.
What else is there? I want to see more of the alien. I think I had unreal expectations too because I wanted it to be a lot like the game, where it was very character focused and very much stalkerish.
Yes.
And not just turn the corner, he's there, And there is some kind of stalkery elements to it, but I don't know whether it be the very obvious nature of the jump scares coming up with the alien, or I would even say I did like the sound design, but I don't think it really worked to build tension in some scenes. It would be so obvious that the music is building, and then it just happened, and I was like, oh well, yeah, obviously, and I was like, well, I didn't like. It kind of took away some of the tension, the music, because the music gave it away.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was like, what? And I wanted to see more of the alien. I don't know. I wanted more from it.
Okay.
I think maybe unrealistic expectations.
That's something that maybe the second one might improve on.
That's what I'm saying. I've heard James Cameron not only focused on adding more aliens, but also adding a lot more action. And I think that's something that I could jive more with. Okay. So that's what I'm saying. I'm definitely going to watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I definitely want to too. I think the only thing that doesn't work for me, regardless, the same with the alien only having 4 minutes of screen time. But also I think about everything that they were able to do in 1979 with filming and how they chose to go with the cut that they did when showing Ash and his head on the table in that obvious cut. And then whenever the Ash robot head goes back onto screen and it's not the actual actor anymore, it looks absolutely nothing like him. It looks like a completely different person.
Yeah. Like they didn't even try.
Yeah,
it almost
like-
looks burnt. Like
yeah, it looks like they already like kind of burnt it a little bit, and they were like, "Oh, well, we got to get it like another take."
yeah,
So,
it was jarring.
yeah, it's like it blows my mind to look at it and be like, "Yeah, that actually looks like him." I'd be like, "No, it doesn't, dude. That's a completely different person." And yeah, that was one thing that I saw that and I was like, "Are you kidding me? You want me to believe that that's him?"
Yeah,
No.
yeah. I just said some practical effects weren't that convincing.
Yeah.
Another thing that didn't work for me, and I know you'll agree with me off the bat, Isaiah, is I don't think this movie is rewatchable. I don't find myself ever rewatching this again.
Okay. I don't think I would agree. I think it is rewatchable.
That's what I'm saying. I think. Oh, I said I would.
You said that I would agree.
I
with
meant
you.
disagree.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Because you said it earlier in the movie, or pod. Yeah, I don't want to watch this movie again.
Lame. No, I'm just kidding.
Fine, forget it.
I'm just joking.
No, I just don't think I didn't find myself invested in it as much as I thought I would be.
Okay.
I didn't find myself like anxious at all. It just wasn't a movie for me, so I don't think it's rewatchable at all.
Let me ask you guys a question. How would you feel instead of a 1.5 mile long ship with 20 million pounds of unrefined material, like spanning literal planets? It looks like how big this thing is. How would you guys feel about like a ship that was way more smaller and intimate?
I think it would definitely drive up the stress factor because it's close and you know it's close.
Yeah,
But I
and
think
there's not very many places to hide.
Yeah, and I think one of the benefactors to the ship being so big is, again, that feeling of the unknown. You don't know, like, where it could be. It could be literally anywhere. And I think that that's one of the parts that makes it so stressful and so terrifying, is that it could be like at the other end of the ship and you're over here. At this point, it
But
could
it's
be
just-
above you. It could be below you. It
Yeah.
could be in the air ducts. It could be hiding in a corner somewhere.
Yeah.
Like it could be anywhere.
Just constant dread.
Yeah.
I get that. The only reason why I ask that is because I was thinking to myself, I was wondering why they decided. Well, first off, my suspension of disbelief is terrible. I thought I kept getting pulled out of the movie because I was like, "You're telling me that 7 people man this massive ship? Like, there's no freaking way. 7 people.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way." And they like aren't specialized. They're not specialized. I mean, they're trash at what they do pretty much. Especially the captain. I did not like him. I liked him as a character or as a part of the movie, but I just thought that he sucked at his job. But I thought to myself, like, especially when they would go down hallways and like it was trying to build tension, like the alien was following them or stalking them or whatever. But I was like, I don't know where they're at in the ship. Like, I don't know if they turn a corner, if it leads to another like dead end, or if it leads to a massive brig. Like, I don't know where we're at in the ship. I have no sense of like topography of the ship.
Yeah.
So it feels like every time they make a decision to turn a corner, to me it doesn't seem like it's calculated that they're going to a destination. It feels all like random.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna turn down this hallway and this hallway and this hallway and this hallway. And I was like, well, maybe the remedy for that would be a smaller ship, because we could get a really good layout of like, oh, this is the common area, and you go this way, and this is where the sleeping pods are, and this is where Mother is.
Are you thinking like a ship, like almost like in
It would still have to be big, but not, I don't know, just more intimate, more
like a Millennium Falcon type
yeah,
ship,
something like that.
where it's big but it's not insanely big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do, maybe it would get rid of some of that dread, or I don't know. I would like to have seen too, maybe more characters like finding creative ways to hide from this beast. I just wanted this thing to like not be hidden in the shadows all the time. I wanted it to be like a presence,
Walking
a
around.
fear,
Yeah.
because we talk about that all the time when we play games. I forget what game it is, but it's gonna sound lame, but when we play Minecraft,
Yeah.
when the fool is chasing you, there's
the
this-
warning.
the
And you hear dum, 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 dum,
Dude, the dread that you feel, and I think the game highlights it perfectly, dude. You're running for your life.
Yeah.
You're literally like, oh,
Yeah.
and you have to run and get into a locker, get under a bed, get into a cabinet.
Yeah.
You're like sweating your freaking hand, like you're sweating everywhere.
Yeah.
And I was thinking like, oh, that might have been cool to see
Yeah.
like Ripley hiding in a locker and seeing the aliens slowly walk by.
Yeah.
You know, that's more of what I was expecting.
Yeah.
So I hate that I expected myself of that because I was like,
Mm.
let's see it, and it wasn't there.
Yeah.
But that's why I'm excited to see what they have in the next films.
Something that's side, not that big. I kind of hated Lambert. She was a trash character.
She wasn't really. I mean,
she wasn't like integral to the story. I
No,
don't
it's
think.
not at all. But she just complained.
the only reason I say I didn't like it very much either is when Dallas was going through the tubes, the ducts, she was like, "It's coming, it's coming," and I'm like, "Tell him where to go. Tell him to go back up." You literally have it on your map, and she's like, "The wrong way," and then of course it gets it. I'm like,
Yeah.
"Oh, come on,
And then
Lambert."
I think about the part when
Did your chief
Parker
dirty.
and Lambert are together, and he goes, "Move away."
And she just was going,
I can't. Bro, yes you can. Right when you move, he's gonna blast him,
yeah.
and you're good.
Yeah, I can see that.
Okay. Anything else?
No, man, we roasted it. Let's build it up. Like, there's still so much stuff we haven't talked about.
Okay. I have to say, I think this movie holds up incredibly well, despite its age. For it coming out in 79, it holds up. There are movies that have come out earlier than that. Like, I think of, like, the prequels to Star Wars, like the 2001 Phantom Menace, and seeing, like, the CGI and how trash it is, and,
Mhm.
like, even, like, certain CGI in, like, movies in the 80s, and seeing how bad it looks today. Like, looking at a movie like this, you're like, it still feels timeless because like there's almost no CGI. It's all practical effects, all sets, all props. Like I think it really works in its favor.
For sure. Yeah, I was just saying the sense of scale with the ships reminded me a lot of Denis Villeneuve when we get those like wide vistas of just a
Yeah.
giant ship.
Yeah, I
was like,
immediately think of whenever they go into where all the eggs are, and there's like a big wide shot where you just
Yeah.
see like it's like all little pools with all that blue fog.
mhm.
Yeah, and
And
you
the-
just see a little dangling guy just
Yep.
kind of sitting there. Yeah.
And there's scenes too where you get a camera view of outside the ship, and there's this tiny little light, and you see Ripley walking, and she's such a little ant over there.
yeah,
The sense of scale here, I think, is awesome.
Yeah.
The fact that they were able to get the right perspectives, the right camera angles to make it look believable. I
Mhm.
said, man, I love it. This is awesome.
yeah,
I did write down that this movie was ahead of its time, so
Okay.
maybe that goes more towards yours, what you were saying, because it looks good. It looks good for the time being.
yeah.
Because I would have never thought. I would have said this movie came out in the 90s.
Mm.
By the way it looks,
Okay.
and seeing and knowing that it comes out in 79, that's really good.
Yeah.
And that's something that I thought obviously worked for this movie. So I guess you categorize that at the cinematography
Yeah.
would be that.
Yeah, I have to back up Abe and say that the cinematography in this film is just gorgeous.
Mm-hmm.
Like I really love the use of lighting in certain situations, color, framing. Like it's great, and I love like a lot of the handheld shots.
Dude,
that,
my favorite shot is when she's running, when Ripley's running, and it's like she's facing that way, but the camera's like low,
Mhm.
and it's just following her.
Yeah,
I love that shot.
Yeah, I think there are incredibly strong characters here. I really liked Ripley, and I really liked Parker.
Mm-hmm.
Those two characters were great. I thought Kane was awesome with his portrayal of being literally like getting ripped up inside. I thought he was good. Even some of the parts where Dallas was on screen with talking with Ripley, their dynamic, I really enjoyed seeing. To see such a strong female character too from Sigourney Weaver, I just thought she did a great job. I mean, she was like fit for this role, dude.
Yeah,
Because she was both headstrong and very still like tender somehow.
Yeah.
And I even heard that the next film highlights that even more of how versatile of a character she is.
Oh, okay.
So I'm just saying, I just think the characters here were incredible.
Okay. Perfect. Yeah, I have to say along the lines of that I think the writing here is great. I like that the writing is like functional. Like it serves a purpose, and there's always a reason why what is happening. And there's never like any plot holes or anything that like leaves you being like, why did this have to be shown? Or what was the purpose of doing this? Like there's always something as to why something couldn't be done or something was done. And I really enjoyed that in that aspect.
Okay.
And I have to say too, because I just recently watched a movie where there was a lot of plot holes. Like when I walked away from it, I was like, that movie, like, there's so many unanswered questions and like things that were shown that like you don't even get told what they were about after and everything. Like it makes no sense. And then you get a movie like this that hits every box, and it just makes me appreciate good writing. So
you like this movie more than the movie you watched recently?
Yes.
Wow.
10 times more. Yes.
Yeah, I spoiled the movie for myself, and I was like, "Oh, come on."
Yeah.
Oh, so yeah, I totally understand. The writing, I think, was strong.
Yeah, and then lastly, we've talked loads and loads about practical effects and stuff, but set design, costume design,
without
props,
all that,
makeup,
I mean,
like it's phenomenal.
Without all that, it'd be mediocre.
Yeah,
honestly, like the attention to detail here is just phenomenal.
Yep.
The style, I mean, it's great.
Yeah, that's about it for me.
Me too.
Yep.
Okay, who wins this movie?
I put down Sigourney Weaver.
Me too.
Oh, you did?
Yes.
I put Ripley.
I did not.
You put down Parker?
I did. Yeah. I enjoyed his actor name is Yaphet Kotto.
Okay.
And I don't know. I just think that he has the most character. Like he has the most personality.
Yeah.
I liked him. And it was sad to see him like hunched over dead. I was like,
yeah.
I knew he wasn't the main character, but every time he was on screen, I was laughing.
Yeah.
Like especially when they go and tell him to refuel the flamethrower, and he's like going through, acting like he's a head honcho going through with his flamethrower. Dude.
Yeah.
I was like, this guy,
Parker.
So I'll say he wins it for me for sure.
Okay. What are some themes?
I don't know, man. Listen to Sigourney Weaver. Listen to women more.
Yeah, true.
Pay more attention to what they got to say because it's literally life saving.
Yeah, seriously. I'd kind of just put down like survival of the fittest.
Yeah.
Or like man versus the unknown. And like, there's so many movies where like I don't know, I think just humans in general just want to feel good about themselves and be like, yeah, we can accomplish anything. Like, you get those movies where it's like man versus the environment, like The Day After Tomorrow, or like that movie called like San Andreas or 2012. Like all these movies where like it's like there's these disasters happen, but humans, we withhold and we stand and we're not gonna stop. We're unstoppable and all this stuff. I think that this sort of falls into that same realm where it's like man versus alien or versus this unknown entity and how man will always come out on top. So.
Yeah. I will say that, yeah, that's pretty much it. We talked about a lot that there's just the weird sexual ideas going on throughout here. And it's like a perversion of something that like humans hold so sacred.
Yeah.
Or I wouldn't say sacred, but it's just like, it's a very human thing.
Yes.
And to see like this xenomorph pervert it in ways that are like against his will, and it's like coming in and taking it, impregnating people. I mean, it's like, I mean, even like it even goes into the whole art style of it. But we talk to Mother.
Yeah.
Where you go, you like walk into this room that's separated from everything else. It's like very intimate.
Yeah.
It all just seems so like weird. I don't know how to explain it, but there's definitely some like thematic sexual energy there that I wanted to highlight.
For sure. What do you think, Abe?
I don't know what to say as a theme.
Okay.
I
think that can say it all.
Yeah. Don't bring cats to space.
Yeah. Don't take cats where they don't need to be. Leave them on the earth.
Hey, would you be mad if it was a dog?
Yes.
What about if it was a hamster?
Yes.
What about a ferret?
Everything. Why would you take an animal?
You're lonely. You don't want just humans up there, man. You want something.
Yeah, and it's not every day you run into xenomorph planets.
Yeah.
I mean, they never expected
but
that.
But you're in space.
Yeah. True.
All right.
That's
going to do it, huh?
What are we rating this?
Oh, I got the ratings. What have you got?
4.
A 4.
Oh man,
Wow.
I would not go that low.
Wow.
I
Wow.
would not go that low.
Wow. I'm giving it
Sorry.
double that, an 8.
What?
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it a 7.
Okay.
I know people are like probably like, oh, not a 9, what? But like,
Oh, I dog on me all you want. I don't care. It's a 4. It's a solid 4, and that's all you're getting.
Ooh.
And I'm
Double
not
down.
changing my mind.
stroking the fire.
Double down.
Yeah. So an 8, a 7, and a 4.
Yep.
I think that highlights how we felt.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh man.
Well, that concludes the episode. So if you liked it and you stuck around, make
Thank
sure that you leave us a rate and review on the audio platforms, whether that be Apple Podcasts or Spotify or Google, wherever you're listening to podcasts. We're also on YouTube if you don't already know that, and you can leave us likes and you can subscribe to the channel. Leave some comments. We've been getting some comments on our recent videos, which is awesome. Love interacting with you guys, and not only getting feedback from you guys and how we can make the show better, but also just seeing what you guys have to say about the episodes and giving us encouragement. It always helps. So we appreciate that. Can do that if you would like. We would again appreciate it if you did so. Also hit the bell notifications on YouTube so that way you get notified whenever uploads happen. We try to upload every Wednesday at 9:15 a.m.
Yeah.
And all of our episode descriptions have our methods of contact in there, whether that be our Instagrams or our TikTok or our email address. You can use those platforms however you'd like to interact with us or this little community that we've built up. And we appreciate you guys. So with that being said, it is now Abraham's pick.
It is. And I'm going to open up the month of October. And so I wanted to do
Scariest movie of all
one
time.
of the best movies from what I hear is one of the best movies. And it's a 2001 film called 13 Ghosts. It stars Shaggy in it.
The
The rapper.
rapper?
He's going to be like, I don't know how to sing it. What is it?
Someone banging on the counter. Isn't that Shaggy?
Yeah, that's all.
Yeah.
It's
Wasn't me.
It wasn't me. But
Yeah.
no, honestly, I used to watch this movie a lot.
Isn't it the guy that plays Shaggy? Isn't his actual name like Matthew Dillard or
His name
have no
is
idea.
Lillard or something like that?
yeah, you got it right. Matthew Lillard.
Matthew Lillard.
Yeah. It has Tony Shaw. He looks so familiar.
I don't know anyone in this movie. I've never seen this movie.
Oh, that's the dad. Okay.
I've always seen the cover of this film whenever I would be in Blockbuster as a kid. And just because it was in the horror aisle, I was like, nope, I'm not going to look at it. Because just even the covers just scared me as a kid.
Oh, dude. 13 Ghosts, this is my childhood. I look back on this film, and if it wasn't for my most recent trying to rewatch this, I would have thought to myself, yeah, I remember it being great. I remember it being suspenseful. I'm reading here. It says horror/thriller. I don't know why comedy is not there.
Okay.
From what I remember, it's like
Bad.
it's a movie. Like we're gonna have a good time talking about
The-
this.
Your favorite thing
chose
about
it-
the movie is that it feels like a movie.
It feels.
It feels like a movie. And I
Ugh.
chose this movie because I haven't seen it, so I haven't seen it in a long time, so I wanted to rewatch it. And I was talking to one of my coworkers, and he was like, "Dude, you should do this movie." And I was like, "You know what I am like?" And I know this movie's bad, but I think this is just gonna be a good episode.
Okay.
Because it's a bad movie, we're just gonna enjoy it.
Okay.
So
There might be redeeming qualities. Who
Yeah.
knows? Maybe the 13 Ghosts will be scary. I
Who
don't know.
knows?
Who knows, man?
Maybe my boy Matthew Lillard will redeem the movie. Never
Well,
know.
somebody gave it
Can
a 10
only
out of
hope.
10 and said, "Seriously?" Oh, never mind. It's not 10 out of 10.
Is it missing the one? 0 out of 10?
I don't know. Let me check real quick.
Oh, someone said, love this film. This is childhood to me. 10 out of 10.
All right.
Might be very generous. I don't know.
Well, I don't believe it's streaming anywhere currently, so we're gonna have to rent.
Yes,
So-
I'm sorry.
so
you
Unless you have a copy, or if you can pick up the movie somewhere cheap or something like that, or if you don't mind spending a couple bucks and renting the movie to check it out, we'd suggest that you do so. So, we're gonna be back next episode with 13 Ghosts.
Yeah.
So, as always, this has been the Film Bros Podcast. Thank you, and good night.
Good night.
Good night.